Good morning, afternoon, evening, my brothers and sisters. This is Ada Bobino with For the Love of Each Other, Ubiquity podcast, and I have my co-host here,
Camille Lord Wyatt, and we are excited to be here. We got founders today. We have
more founders.
We have some more founders, and we have some seasoned ubiquitarians. We want to welcome Janet Babham Hales, Ray Coleman, and Deborah Coleman, Ray McFarland, my bad.
Yes, get it together, girl.
I know, I got excited. Ray McFarland and Deborah Coleman. And I'm talking about, without these sisters and brothers, we wouldn't have an organization. So Janet is one of the founders of Ubiquity, and so isn't Ray McFarland. Hey! Ubiquity was founded in 1973 on the campus of Howard University, probably as the first, if only, co-ed organization on the campus to celebrate and honor Black men and Black women, the Black family. We're proud Ubiquitarians. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody's coming from different parts of the country. Ray's in Tennessee right now. Deborah's in the Baltimore DMV area. And Janet, you're where?
In DC.
You're in DC as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, awesome. Awesome.
So what was it like to be on the campus in 1973 and receiving the call, if I might, one Don Temple, come one, come all, let's do this? What was that like?
Well, I'll start. I met Donald in the summer of 72 before I came to Howard. Mm-hmm. And at that point, he was friends with some of my neighbors. And so they told him I was coming to Howard. My school counselor is the one that encouraged me to come to Howard. I had been accepted other places, but once I got the letter from Howard, that's where I knew I was going. And then I met Donald through my neighbors who said to him, "You take care of her." And he did that. And as soon as I met him, he's like, "You're going to be my little sis, and we're going everywhere on the campus. I'm going to tell you which dorms, which schools, which whatever you need to know, I got you." Nice. And he did that. And he couldn't pronounce my last name, which is Babham, like grab him, except it's Babham. So he came up with the nickname Jzab. And to this day, he still calls me that. He'll call me on the phone, "Jzab, what you doing? What you doing?" So that's just my nickname. And JB is my other nickname for Janet Babham. So some of my classmates call me that. And so that's how I got to Howard, and how I got into Ubiquity was one evening in the spring of, well, it was actually still winter because it was February, right after my birthday. Donald said, "Jzab, I got this idea. Let me tell you about it." And he told me, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds really cool. Okay." He said, "We're going to do it tonight."
That sounds like John. That hasn't changed.
That's Donald.
Right. I said, "Okay, I'm in. I'm interested." And that's how it started.
Awesome. Yeah. About how many of you were there?
Whew. Maybe altogether, maybe 25, 30 people in the room. 30. We were in Meridian Hill Hall, which is where we all stayed. A lot of us stayed.
What are your memories, Ray, as well? Because you weren't from the East Coast, you weren't a Philly, you weren't New York, you were down south. No. So how did you get involved in Ubiquity?
Well, Howard was a choice that came about because I saw it in the Ebony magazine during my high school years, and my sister lived in Washington, D.C., and I would come up to DC, 10th, 11th, 12th grade summer. And fortunately, when I did get accepted, I came on campus, and you have to understand it was a cultural shift, paradigm shift, coming from Charleston, South Carolina to Washington, D.C., and being at a place like Howard in the 70s. In my high school, we turned the school over from 80-20 white-black to 80-20 black-white by the time I left out of there. So I was a bit indoctrinated by the lifestyle that DC offered. So I came on campus, and as Janet said, Donald is he's a master of bringing people together. And we met in the library, and he wanted to know who I was because he thought I was from Jersey or Philly or something. Coming from Charleston, you brought your style with you. And I must admit, it was I was kind of impressed with his lack of knowing what a brother from Charleston looks like.
Nice. So, I like to jog memories just a little bit. Yeah. Can you all call some of the names of the founders that came along with you? Whatever you can remember. Let's just shout out some folks.
Barry, who came up with our name.
Yeah.
Sully.
Cameron Wade.
Cameron.
Yeah.
Giselle Dennis.
Vanessa Baxter.
Yeah.
Reba, I believe Reba Griggs was in that group. Those were actually I sent you the directory.
We have the directory.
Yes,
I just want you to holler at I just want you to shout out the names.
As y'all were shouting out, I felt like I was around the tree.
Yeah.
when we cross our hands and we holding each brothers and sisters' hands.
Yeah.
How did that wonderful pledge and holding hands around the tree, saying the pledge in a circle? Do y'all remember how that came about? Was that something? Because I know, Deborah, you were one of the first trial people that actually went through the trial period once the founders brought everybody on. But do y'all have recollections of how that came to be? Because I love that. The pledge, the holding hands, circle.
I would venture to say, and I can't give you date and time,
right,
but Donald had come from Philadelphia, having been involved in other groups, and I think he took some of the best of what he knew to use in Ubiquity. We all had kind of our ideas about how to create this connection between men and women. But the organization allowed us to really think progressively. The whole idea of it being co-ed was relatively progressive enough on its own. But in terms of how we came to the symbolism, the Nguzuzaba, all of those things were something that we kind of collectively put on the table and figured out what worked best, particularly the sharing of blood. That is, that's, I would say that's ancestral in terms of that particular sharing of blood and passing our love to each other.
What's this sharing of blood business? I don't remember that.
Oh, we want to explain that because you don't want people to think you piercing your finger and
that's what I thought.
Blood.
We did.
What is that?
We did. We actually did.
Oh, really?
There was a pricking of the finger and a sharing of the blood from each person to the other. Yes.
That wasn't in my trial period, so I didn't know about that. That's new.
I don't remember that either.
I think that was only us in the beginning.
In the beginning.
Oh, it's a founders thing.
Yeah, it's a founders thing. Yeah. Okay.
That was part of the ritual. And I actually have 1 or 2 pages of it somewhere in my archives. I'll have to bring that up and share that with you at some point. Yes.
Oh, please. Deborah, how did you become interested in Ubiquity, and when did you come on board?
Yeah, I became a member in 1975. It was the second semester of my freshman year. And I saw a flyer posted somewhere on campus inviting, if you're interested in joining this co-ed family organization on campus, I could sign up, and I had an interview. Donald Temple interviewed me one evening in the reading room of the Moreland Spingarn Center and Founders Library. I think that's where he worked. That was his job. So he took a little break from his job and interviewed me for membership, and I was selected. And it was interesting. A lot of the people who were selected to be on trial, and I don't even know if we called it that then. It wasn't as structured. We weren't called A.B. Cedarians. That came after us. But most of the prospective members were from the North. And I'm a Southern woman. I came to Howard from North Carolina, from Durham, North Carolina. And while I was on this trial period, many of the other members were from Philly, New Jersey, and New York. And they thought that I was too. You know, it took them a minute to figure out. I don't know why they couldn't tell from my accent, but many thought, like we had a brother, Ron Croxton, asked me one day, what high school did I attend? And I said, Hillside. He said, where is that in Philly? I never heard of it. I said, because I'm not from Philly. So, yeah, that's my beginning. With,
I know it's been 52 years, but I'm just trying to visualize that interview in Founders Library. Do you have any recollections from that and what you took away from it when you walked away from Donald Temple's interview?
I was excited because, you know, Donald can be your number one hype man, and he made it sound like Ubiquity was the best thing since Howard University was established. So I was pretty excited about joining. And then so many of the members, the sisters were nice, you know, some of the fellow sisters who joined when I did, we're still very, very close. 50 years later, Carol Parkinson Hall, who lives in Philly, Kathy Barrett Carter, who lives in New Jersey right now. You know, I was just talking with them last Sunday. We were in a book club together. Janet is a part of that book club too. But they were very nice sisters. And then all of the men who were members of Ubiquity, they were very, you know, nice brothers. And, you know, they treated us with respect and kindness. And that meant a lot. And they weren't trying to, you know, necessarily hit on us in a, you know, romantic way. But it was really in a familiar, it was family. And that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
And that was actually, that very point was one of the objectives of the organization. We all knew there was something of a dichotomy between men and women, at least on campus, and we wanted to kind of break down that barrier and be in an organization together versus separated as with the Divine Nine and other on-campus organizations.
Yeah, that's what we understood. What was it like the 70s coming from the South, Deborah, Janet, Ray coming from the South, being on Howard's campus during the 70s, because that was pretty much right after the Civil Rights Movement, and there was a lot of political activities going on.
Yeah, lots of shifting. It was powerful. We were still protesting. We were student protesters at the A building for an issue that escapes me right now, probably the long lines and still not getting what you needed to get resolved. But I remember sitting on the steps outside the A building with a sign. If I go back in my yearbook, I can find it. But it was a period of change and shift. And we were in the midst of that. And really coming to Howard, you were just immersed in that vibe completely.
I agree with you.
Did you find that Ubiquity stood out in any way? Not for you, of course, founders, because you created Why We Stand Out. Did you find, Deborah, that it stood out from any of the other organizations on campus?
Yes, Ubiquity, you know, in the 70s, I guess, I don't know if it was so much because we were new or because we were just, so dynamic and, a positive force on the campus. Well, I think maybe both of those. We were new and we were just, positivity is what we promoted.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made us appealing. We had a large membership and a lot of interest then. And, it seems like now it's different, it's a different vibe. It's not the same vibe. And I know things change, but it seems like it's a different vibe for the membership now in 2025.
What do you mean? In what way?
It doesn't, I don't get this. I get sort of like a family concept, but I don't know how to describe it. It's like, okay.
It's the climate.
You all may end up editing this out, but I have a lot of young people that have gone to Howard, and I could never get any of them interested in Ubiquity.
Oh,
and I asked, why, and they said it's because they just get a very weird vibe. They don't get the family vibe that I experienced there. Like the what did they tell me about the bottles hanging in our tree one time? They couldn't understand what that was about, what was the purpose of it. And then it seemed more, I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to be.
I think when you're an outsider looking in, if you don't go in or venture or research or study or understand, I think when there's a lack of understanding of anything, then there's some standoffishness.
Well, maybe it was cultural because we found that lately they have African names and that we never had on our property.
We definitely didn't have that.
That's correct.
Yeah, they're incorporating
that. What I would say to that, Peaks, is that Ubiquity is not for everybody. We're now in an age where there's so many other distractions, so many other opportunities to be associated with things that wasn't even on our radar. So as people talk about what it is and what it isn't, don't let that be a reflection of the cultural change that Ubiquity reflects, but more of what that individual may be looking for in terms of what their social and cultural experiences are on campus. That's why some people join fraternities and sororities, and other folks don't.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and that's one of the things. That's one of the things, Ray. That I'm sorry, Creel. That's one of the things that when I talked with you earlier, you were saying you chose Ubiquity over, and you could have been in both at the same time. I mean, right. But you chose Ubiquity. Why? Why was it important? Even coming on as a founder, what was the reckoning? The reason for you?
At the very heart of it was the family experience, the brothers and sisters, because I'm one of 9 children. So I wasn't interested in having to be involved in a group that wasn't going to show me the respect and love right from day one that I know I can get, that I've always gotten from my own family. So it was really something that, as Donald put it together, as we, became, as we formed the group, it really gave me a sense of home. I was able to feel like, these were my brothers, these were my sisters. I have 4 sisters and 4 brothers at home, and at that time, and a mother and a father. And that was, everybody didn't have that combination when you talk about there at Howard. I was shocked that people they didn't live with their mother and father, divorce and separations. That was something I was totally unfamiliar with. Yeah. So it really, Ubiquity kind of filled that particular void. And the fact that had family there in Washington that really allowed me to feel loved through and through while I was on campus. And then I met just met some incredible people. That really is what kept the whole thing going. And as you become familiar with each other, you then, you know, value what that relationship is. And as you can see, Deborah, I was at her house just 2 weeks ago. Janet, you know, we were hanging out at a fashion show just recently. 50 years of love and experience, and that's something you can't beat it. Can't beat it.
Let's talk about the cultural progression of Ubiquity, because I don't know, Deborah, when you came on, was there Nguzo Saba?
I don't think so. I don't think so. In 1975, we as new members or members, a person seeking membership in Ubiquity, we were assigned different projects. Some were community related, service, some were academic, but I don't remember, and it could be, you know, 50 years, my memory is not the same, but I don't remember us learning Nguzo Saba. I know we were not called Abecedarians, and for the love of each other. That was not part of our trial period. That came much later.
Right.
Do you remember those evolving, Janet? I mean, the Nguzo Saba, who brought that to
I don't know. I've always wondered, Ada, because I always said I want to go back and get my African name, because I like what I heard, and I went to several over the years, several what do you call them, events during the trial period, but I never got my name at that time.
We didn't have that either, and during our trial period in 1995.
And I like it. I like the concept. I like the Black Knight. I like several parts of the whole trial period, but we didn't have that because we created it, and then the next year or 2 years, Peaksy didn't have it either. So I'm not sure. We'd have to dig some more and find out when that began.
Were there strong levels of Black consciousness on campus as well when you guys were there?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Oh, yeah. And that was again part of, you know, a different identity. It wasn't, you know, a set of colors as it relates to the Divine Nine organizations, which I love. You know, my sisters were AKAs. My friends on this podcast are Deltas, as well as my wife and daughters. So I have nothing but love for them. But to be associated, and keeping in mind, growing up, we weren't indoctrinated to the African experience, Afrocentric experiences. So coming on Howard, the dashiki, and look, Peaks is wearing, what you wearing there today, Peaks? Is that a
my kente cloth?
Kente cloth. See, look.
All right.
That was part of the experience. Yeah.
And how did Ubiquity? Because I know, Ray, you went to vegetarianism and all that, and you brought that to Ubiquity. How did the intermingling of women, the intermingling of people from different parts of the country, how did that impact you? And what did you bring to the organization that impacted them during that time?
Well, you know, I was a guy on campus, and keeping in mind that just as it is now, the ratio was, you know, for every 2 guys, there were 10 women, something on that level. And
back in 73, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, it was like that. And I'm sure the ratio is even worse now, given the number of men on campus. But the whole idea was to be able to be in a platonic relationship without the overbearing sense of, you know, let's hook up. Because keep in mind, this was before, you know, the only thing we had to really worry about, and forgive my French, was getting the clap. There wasn't any AIDS. There wasn't any
getting the clap.
The what? What's that? Okay.
Getting gonorrhea. Okay. That was as far as.
That's why I had to ask. I was like, what?
as far as diseases were concerned.
Got it.
And so it was
That's real, though.
It's absolutely real. So free love was a thing.
Yeah.
In the
back
70s,
in the 70s. You know, you think about Woodstock and what was going on in California, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So it was very enlightening to be able to sit and have a relationship with another human being of the female persuasion, without there being the overcast of, you know, I'll see you at the room at 11 or sneaking into a dorm, that sort of thing. So it was that helped provide a degree of maturity, because as I got older, those were the values that I carried into my marriage, which I've been with the same woman for 45 years now. So I credit Ubiquity with being part of my formative life.
And that's what I want to know as well. That's perfect, Ray. Janet, what did you study?
Political science with a minor in economics.
That is awesome. Awesome. And Deborah?
I was in the School of C. Journalism was my major.
Yeah, that's
and Deborah, you worked on the Hilltop as well.
Yes, I did. I worked on the Hilltop, the school, the weekly paper.
That's beautiful.
So did you know AJ then? Because AJ was on the Hilltop.
Oh yeah, he was one of our photographers. Yes, definitely.
Sure was. Ajax.
You call him AJ. We call him Ajax.
Ajax.
That's what you call. She know better. We just talked.
Yeah. She knows better.
Did you find, Janet and Ray and Deborah, did you find, and I know as you all were developing the organization and what it would look like, even 52 years later, you know, it is such a culturally strong and Afrocentric organization. Even then, there was still what made Ubiquity stand out was the cultural connections or the desire to find out more about our roots as African Americans. Did you find that impacted your study choices or career choices later?
Relationship choices.
Ray alluded to the fact that what he learned in Ubiquity has carried on to his relationship with his wife today. And I'm wondering what, if anything, that you created in Ubiquity affected your walk today.
It was just love. It was love and friendship. And one of our members who pledged trial period he did it right before Deborah, is Dave Mosher. And he's gone on to glory now, but he has always been so supportive, and I'm just lifting his name up because he just came back into my spirit. But it's just the friendship and the love and the consistency of those friendships. Now, 50 years later, my father passed in 22, and I had no idea he was coming. Who walks in but Sully and his wife? And Sully lives in New Jersey. And I had no idea he was coming. And it just blessed my spirit because it just, again, confirmed. Ray was there, you know, Peaks was there. It just confirmed the love that we have for each other. And that has been in my spirit for all these years.
That's why FTLOEO is our motto. It's our theme. It's who we are. And I promise we're going to live by that for another 52 years if we have anything to do with it. It's very.
I think the extended family thing, because you get to choose your family in Ubiquity. You don't get to choose your personal family.
That's
I know Peaks, you and I, you were talking about the love you have for your brother Ray and what he has meant to you over the years, because you have 4 girls or 5 girls in your family. You didn't have a brother. So this gives you. So I mean, can you speak to that? Just not what you didn't have in your family, what you get out of Ubiquity, and vice versa.
It's just it's amazing. It's just amazing to share, platonic genuine love with another man. I mean, with a man that is, you know, not your blood relative, but it doesn't even matter. The blood part is insignificant because the relationship and the interaction is so loving and kind that it means the world to you. And, you know, that's the way things are between Ray and I. And it's been, you know, based on 50 years of friendship. We met in 1975, and we have maintained a relationship all of these years. And, you know, I'm getting full. I'm getting emotional about it because I have been going through a lot lately, and Ray just shows up, you know, out of the blue. It's like God told him, Peaks needs you today. And, you know, I was very sick a month ago, and he did several things, you know, to help me get better. And it's just, you know, big brother, he's my big brother, and he wants to take care of me as his little sister. And I am very grateful, and I'm forever grateful that he has, you know, that kind of love in his heart for me. And it all started with Ubiquity at Howard University. And I know that he will always be there for me, as I will be there for him as his little sister.
Well, and I'll tell you, ladies, that Deborah Peaks introduced me to my wife, and that's the epitome of love.
Yeah.
And it was from her introduction out on 95. We were in the car, hopping out the window. And so, you know, it just goes to show you that she had enough respect for me to introduce one of her sorority sisters to me. And with that, you know, it's just the way it works. That's just the way it works. At least that's the way it works in Ubiquity. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I really appreciate Deborah, you sharing about how you found or find maybe what's the current climate different, because we want to make sure that this love relationship that we have as brothers and sisters carries on to this new generation. So I'm wondering, you know, what might be missing if there is a disconnect. We are challenged with so many streams of information hitting us on a daily basis, and we forget this connection. And in our rush to be maybe so culturally relevant, so African, and having 5 different names that can't nobody pronounce, you know, it's all good, all love. That we're missing something, perhaps. I don't know. But
Can I interject?
Please come on.
No, I mean, what I've learned, what I've taught my daughter, to be clear, I mean, love, although it is an action word, it means different things to different people. So if you don't experience real unconditional, you know, love, I mean, Ray is one of 9 kids, baby of the 9 kids. I'm sure you have all kind of, you know, experiences with love, but if you don't really experience it and feel it, you don't know how to give it. And I think that Ubiquity, coming together with people you don't know and joining a family with things like sensitivity session. I mean, things that you don't even do with your own family.
Right.
Things that are very personal, and having commonality of being on a university, experiencing life, growing up. That's where you grow up, college. And understanding are really growing into that action word and being able to give it back. I mean, I don't know. I mean, y'all, we can.
Yeah, no. I remember
Ada. Love thing is so deep. This whole love thing is deep beyond.
It is.
Yeah,
it's like
talks about Ada.
No, I was just going to say there are no coincidences, and everything happens by divine order. And I really believe, even though we don't necessarily see um, people like Sully or Barry, Lenore, Jazz and Vanessa have gone on to glory, but we don't have to see each other to still have that connection. We get together and it's just like we never left. And
Right.
I'll tell you this one story, since the three of us are on. We all have lots of stories between us about growing up together and having families together. My parents were down here one time here in DC from Philly, and Ray and Leslie were over, and I don't remember it being a real specific type of occasion, but they came over, and Ray wanted some nachos or something that needed to go in the oven. And Ray got down on his knees and was cleaning my oven, which I had burnt something in not that long ago. And my mother was standing there just like, Janet, he's cleaning your oven? Yes. So I can fix this food we're going to fix. But I mean, we just have that kind of relationship. We get together and we just have a good time. You know, we travel together, but all of our relationships are in divine order. There are no coincidences, and we're still close to this day. And
I
yeah.
love it.
Ray is your daughter's godfather?
Yes, that I was getting ready to add that too. Okay. He and Leslie are my youngest daughter's godparents.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's 30.
Wow.
Yeah. I was going to allude to when we talk about family and loving each other and learning how to, when you're coming from outside of different places and then coming together as an organization, one of the challenges that we have, and I don't know if you all designed the me to we concept, but one of the challenges that we had, Ada had, was going from me to we, which is a part of being an ABCDarian moving into Ubiquity, was learning how to be that.
Yeah.
Learning how to be the Rays, learning how to be the Janets, learning how to be the Deborahs, where, you know, even when we leave this campus, we are we now.
Right.
We are we. We're not just singular. We are from me to we. Right. And that's part of it.
Yeah. I agree with you. One of the challenges that the organization has had is to grow from the campus of Howard to other places, because this experience is not codified in a way that other organizations have their have the bandwidth to say, okay, these are the steps you're going to take, but and you, no matter where you are, it's the same way. The Ubiquity, just it's culturally significant because each person brings their home life to the table. And when you come to the table and you don't have the kind of love and love experiences that you find at Howard, that you find in Ubiquity, you know, it takes a minute. And, you know, you're on campus for only 4 years, 5, 6, you know, based on who you are and what you're doing. And you then leave and you literally are put out into the big mean world.
That's right.
Sometimes aren't able to navigate it the way you did when you had the support and the love of people, your brothers and sisters in Ubiquity. So to tell you how I have even extended that beyond campus, the Nguzo Zaba is a set of principles I use in my business. I've been an entrepreneur for I've had this one company for 34 years. And then I even had another company, an Amazon business, that I hired people and used the Nguzo Zaba as the principles by which I held up myself and the company as a way to show you that you can have a job but you can also experience the principles of what your ownership has as well. So I took that literally word for word from what I learned at Howard, and how that experience carried me forth. To this day, I'm still using the Nguzo Zaba. The fact that I'm sitting where I'm sitting right now is a very clear reality that the love you put out there, and if you do it in a community way, it will be returned to you. And so I look forward to what this particular effort that you and Camille are putting together, or Camille and Ada are putting together, because it now brings the story of what this organization is about to a much broader platform. And like I said, there are resources that you haven't quite tapped yet, but I'll share that with you at the right time.
Yeah, I want you to know. No, I just want you to know that we've tapped Dr. Ron Karenga to be our guest.
Excellent.
But I want to say what you brought up was so important, because if you look at, and that was one of the reasons why we started this podcast. Camille and I were talking over Christmas break last year, and it was like, why hasn't Ubiquity gone to other campuses? Why hasn't this been mimicked on other HBCUs? Because the Deltas, the AKAs, the Qs, whatever, they've spread nationwide. I don't know if it's international, but I know it's nationwide.
International.
And we're just trying to figure out, like, this is such a powerful, or could be such a powerful organization beyond Howard's campus. So that is why we started this. That is why we want to talk to the founding members and different organizations, because once you leave that Howard campus, the Mecca, once you leave and go out into the world, you are taking those principles with you. You are taking that love with you, or taking the memories and the values with you in your family lives and your professions, and how you function and survive in this crazy ass world. So it's and so with that, how has Ubiquity helped each of you survive? I mean, Ray, you talked about your business, you brought it in, but survive in your professions, or just dealing with craziness of that life brings you. How has that helped? How has this organization, the foundation, the roots of it, helped you thrive and survive?
It's the model that I feel it's the model that we have for the love of each other. You can always call on one of your sisters or brothers and talk about stuff, and be grounded again, or calm your nerves again. Whatever is going on.
And I think that's so important as Black people today in 2025, man. We've lost the ability to just be a sister to a brother, just be a brother to a sister. Right now, we're looking at everybody as, that's a female, somebody I want to get with, and it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that. Our young people are there. They're not looking at, how they're looking at, I'm going to say this, we're adults here. This is, I believe, we're looking at people through sexual lenses. We're not looking at people through fraternal or lenses, or familial lenses. We're looking through the wrong lenses. And as a people, where we are when these folks are trying to erase our history in this country, that's the last thing we need to be concerned about. The last thing we need to be concerned about. The first and most important thing we need to be concerned about is our family. Is our family, my brother and my sister. I'm all about uplifting Black men, because the attacks to me have just gotten stronger. We know that they've been prevalent throughout our sojourn, but they're stronger, and Black women are being denigrated. It's stronger. So we can't afford to keep calling each other bitches and hoes. We can't do that. So there has to be Black men who teach differently, who teach other Black men differently. It has to be a different approach.
But I will say, you're saying men and men, but as we discussed with Johari and Ajax, it's the Black women that are bringing it to Black men to help them grow, mature, and develop. I mean, so it's got to be strong Black women pairing.
Indeed, I love it, Ada. Absolutely, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
But what makes them do that? It was easy for Johar and them to say that back in the day, but right now, Ray, I don't know who has sons amongst you.
It is one thing and it took growing into it, is to try to be non-judgmental. We all, again, have our own morals and concepts of how love and family needs to work, but it doesn't always work that way. And you have to be able to stand on for the love of each other as your primary backdrop. You can't be mad at somebody because they don't operate the way you operate. You can't do that. And at least that's the way it's been for me. I've found that what is happening today in terms of within our culture and political sphere has happened before. This is one of the reasons why we went through the marches and the dogs and the riots. It's happened before. It's just the young people now are seeing it in internet speed. Okay. Right. We had to wait for the evening news. The moment it happens, it's shot across the entire globe. Yeah. So we have to be a lot smarter about how we do the things that we do, because what you guys are doing right now, you're educating, and there's an incredible amount of ignorance about who we are as a people and what we've already achieved, that the white boys are saying, well, look, DEI is dead. It's always been dead. We've always had to work twice as hard to get half as much. Yeah. So we have to now take the battle to them as they're trying to take away the successes, our history, the love. They're trying to take the love that we have from each other. Yeah. Trying to take that away. So that's my preach. That's now I know that I have a responsibility to do certain things. And again, I'm down here in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm helping to do something I've never done, helping support a youth diving program. I'm a scuba diver is one of my passions. And I bought equipment for these kids because one of their sponsors pulled their sponsorship because of DEI. Wow. So I told the guy, I said, look, don't worry about it. I got you. We're going to bring it. Wow. We're going to replace whatever you lost. And so it's now time for us to take the banner. Yeah. Pick up the banner and move it forward. And I was sharing this with Donald. I think that could literally be the next evolution of Ubiquity, because the Blackness that we learned in the 70s at Howard has been somewhat diluted by the fact that we can now go to any college or university based on our athletic skills, based on how much money our parents now make. My mama didn't finish high school. My daddy was a janitor all his life, and we still had most of us go to college and become professionals. So we now need to bring that love, that sense of being able to do it for ourselves back to the table.
Oh my God, that is so important. And what you're saying, just it's like somebody feels like they have the power, the government, Trump, whatever they feel they have the power to just take away. But what you're saying and what you're doing, what you're practicing, your action, your love is saying, yeah, you can take it away, but we're gonna get it another way. We're gonna bring it back. So we have to supply it. Better. We have to bring it. We can't depend on the people that have the purse strings to pull it away. We have to come in and unite and do it.
That
is beautiful.
Every Nguzo Saba principle exercise right now, right here.
one.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Every
That's exactly
single
right.
one. Every single one. Let us know. Let us know. And we have to figure out how to spread the word about how to be able to help these
it's coming.
initiatives.
It's
Yeah.
coming.
Because
So what I wanted to follow up with, and thank you, Ray, that was it just brought me back to when we used to have the Martin Luther King celebrations and we taught our kids growing up about our history. And we're in and we're in a different space, but it's the same concept. And so with this podcast now, as we this is put out in the ether for people to see and understand who we are, what we're doing, I can see that being coupled with what Ray was just saying as a way to spread it other places. Absolutely. And then I'm wondering, the trial period information, maybe I'm going too deep in the weeds right now, but that's how my mind sometimes works. We're going to document how to do it, like in the sororities and fraternities. It has been documented, and then it's repeatable all around the world. So we need to do the same type of thing.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Ubiquity. And I believe, and I thank you, ladies, Camille and Ada, for doing this, because this is a way to get the word out about what we are and have it out, and hopefully re-implement that in a even wider vein where we're talking about our history and teaching it at the same time.
Yeah, that documentation is key. Documentation is key.
Yeah, if it's not, the history is lost. The history is lost, and I think what's happening with a lot of kids coming on, the younger generation, is they just join things because of popularity. They don't join things because of the real essential root of what it is that the organization is supposed to do or can do for you.
Right.
Can I ask? We're celebrating 52 years. How do y'all feel about that? Like, even though we're members of a sorority that's been around for over 100 years, but you all founded this. This is your baby. My God!
Well,
I am in love with you all because of this.
It's amazing.
It was my first love, and so
Ray, what happened to your visual?
Your camera went out, Ray.
No, I see him. I see him.
Yeah. Well, we don't.
We can't see him.
This is your baby. You all started this, and we're still here today. You did this. You know, I'm in love.
And Deborah, you were the first guinea pigs of the coming on.
For a second, I think. Yeah, maybe they had the first new members in 74. Then I was 75.
Okay.
But I would like to see Ubiquity remain or return to being strong. At one point, I felt during like the mid 2000s or something, it was like one member on campus. It really went down. And I think that, we have had a lot of false starts where, people like myself say, yes, I'll work with the effort to try to bring it back and, get it in a place of strength again on campus so that it can be a viable organization. I don't know. I don't have a pulse on how it is on the campus now. I did talk to somebody.
Well, what's happening on campus now? What now is it's being right now. They have 9. I think there's 9 sisters on trial.
7.
But what we're not getting now is men. We're not getting that male presence like it used to be, and so we're really hoping to bring them into the fold because the dynamics of interacting with women on campus, and like you all said, how you all started with the co-ed, that's so critical.
Yeah.
And so it's I mean, but you got to also look at the fall of males, period, going to college. So there's a lot of factors impacting just the higher education, and then you're talking HBCUs. And even now it's going to be more difficult because everything's being cut and only slashing everything with his pen, and it's just that's where we need to go to try to really get more more men on campus. There's always been a disparity of male to female, but now it's more so higher than it's ever been.
I'd like to just reiterate that this is your baby, and we are here as a result of you all.
Right.
So it's important that we continue to share this for the love of each other with our networks, with our friends and our family, because I promise you, we're not going to let this go. We're not going to let this go. It's so important to us. And you all have as you all just committed your lives to Ubiquity, we are as committed to making sure that Ubiquity lives forever. We are in many places at the same time. And we have this love that no one else has. And we wanted to not just go on campus, but I believe that we can live on other campuses as well. I think that we're going to rely on each other more than ever before. So, Ray, with your initiative and the other works that we do in community, we're not going to have a choice. But what I believe we're going to need to do is look beyond the surface type of relationships that a man and woman would have. That doesn't mean anything. That's easy to do. But it's deeper. It's, will you come over and clean my oven? We get on
very spontaneous.
You know what I mean? Just where's that brother at?
He still exists.
I'm sure, but we want more of them. We want to make more of them. Do either of you lady have sons? Does anybody got sons?
I have a grandson now.
But I'm gonna have them. Yeah, we've all had girls, but I'm gonna have a grandson soon. But we don't have.
And it's up to us to train them up to be the little Rays. We're gonna,
the little Rays,
little baby Rays,
little baby Rays.
I love it.
That's
but
right.
you have a point. There is a the system that our young men have to operate under is very disheartening and destructive, totally destructive. As an example, I didn't know anybody growing up that was in jail. You can't find a young man today who could say that he doesn't know somebody from his neighborhood that's either in jail or dead. And that's
very sad.
That's a reality that George Floyd, that just didn't happen. This has been systemic, and it's something that as a community as a community, we need to raise our young men up and bring them along.
Absolutely. Ray, you're going to love one of the episodes that we have planned is about Black men. It could be Black men health, Black men mental health, Black men for the love of each other, meaning that y'all got to love each other. And we understand the whole mental. I believe if we don't understand it, we need to understand why we don't as men. We understand. We, I believe, are conscious enough to understand what we've gone through. And then what we know as conscious people, we need to take to our community so that we understand the battle that we are facing with each other. When you look at your brother and when I look at my sister, I don't say, good morning, sis. How you doing, sis? That's not the first thing we do. We get defensive, right? We get defensive and we don't know where you're coming from. What you going to take from me? Do you want to take from me? Do you want to fight me? Because we've done it for so long. And yet we have this great love, FTLOEO. So I just want to, again, just reiterate the love that I have for each of you. And we're so grateful and thankful that you all have taken some time out of your Saturdays to join us. And I want to ask that you would please continue to, as you call the names of your sisters and brothers that have been a part of our family, that they'll come and join us. And so that we can begin to have these conversations with each other, and all the wonderful things that you all planted will continue to grow with each trial period, each abecedarian that comes into Ubiquity. We want your seeds to grow in them, and we are thankful to each of you for your sacrifice and your commitment. I love
and
you.
for your vision. 52 years later, here we are. So thank you all.
It's amazing.
It is.
Y'all did a good thing. Y'all did a good thing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, y'all have a good rest of your day.
And look,
Thank you.
we're not done. We're not.
Oh
done.
no.
We're not.
Oh
done.
no. By any stretch of the imagination. So thank you. We're gonna share this with everybody that we know, and they don't even have to be Ubiquity. We're just teaching.
Yeah.
We're just teaching.
Yeah.
We're just teaching who we are and what we do.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Educate.
So go to our channel, folks, on YouTube, like and subscribe and share. And everybody have a wonderful rest of the day.
Have a wonderful day. I love you, my sister Deborah. Janet,
Love
and
you
my
too,
brother
Camille.
Ray.
Love you too.